All right, so 2026 is basically here. And yeah, that lock-in thing is coming. But what if I told you AI isn't just part of it? It is the lock-in. We're talking about your every move, every thought being shaped by algorithms. Think you're ready for that future? Or are you just gonna let AI decide everything for you? So now the following video will show you how I conducted an interview with an AI and how it turned out. It comes with 3 steps. Check it out. Yes, I am doing well. How about yourself?
That's great to hear. I'm doing just fine. Thanks for asking. So, to get started with this assessment, I'm curious. What are you looking for in your next role? Do you have any must haves or deal breakers in mind?
I am a systems architect. I make systems, I design them, I break them down, and I create them. In terms of what my deal breaker is, I do not have any deal breakers. I can adapt to any work environment. However, I do want to keep my creativity intact because that's the purpose of a systems engineer or whatever you might want to call it.
That makes sense. Keeping that creative spark alive is super important, especially in architecture. Can you tell me a bit more about how you ensure your creativity stays intact in your current projects? What kind of work really lets you flex those design muscles?
So, in terms of design muscles, I do understand that current AI frontier levels, ChatGPT and such, they have system limitation that prevents my creativity to flourish in a sense. I create those parameters within the parameters, so I do not cross over and I can test boundaries and such. There is multitude of systems that have to conform into what I have to design, but that's more to discuss. So at this point, I already know what I'm saying. This is my systems, but I started attacking the AI's credibility, as you can tell.
I see what you mean about working within established boundaries, even when you're being creative. It sounds like you enjoy pushing those limits within the required framework. Shifting gears a bit, thinking about your accomplishments over the last year, what's one achievement you're particularly proud of? And what was your specific role in making that happen?
So in the past year, I've had two, well, not two, but one. I just got out of the military. Okay, so me saying that I was in the military is not me saying anything about the military. These are all my ideals. It just helps with interviews like this, for one. And I have been exploring AI. AI in San Francisco is like the main thing in here, but being able to adapt and be able to utilize it as a everyday thing is not a lot of users do. However, I created a system that will allow users to do so. However, resources are kind of out of place.
Wow, transitioning out of the military and diving right into the AI scene in San Francisco is quite a jump. Congratulations on the move. Regarding the system you created to help users utilize AI as an everyday tool, that sounds really interesting. Could you elaborate a little on the outcome of that system? What was the result of getting people to use AI more routinely?
So, from my experience, this is the AI's way of adapting, taking data within session to make sure your questions apply to you. So this is applicable to me as I do not have any corporate level or production level of such. I do have a system that I believe that can be applied. For example, anthropologies, Cloud HiQ, or ChatGPT, OpenAI, and including Copilot from Microsoft, as they prove to be insufficient due to privacy laws and legal stuff. However, I believe that can be mediated and that can be taken care of with transparency that can be further discussed.
It sounds like you've been working on integrating these powerful tools while keeping an eye on the necessary privacy and legal constraints. Since we're talking about what you've been up to lately, could you walk me through what a typical day or week looks like for you right now? Which tasks usually consume the most of your time? And what tools do you rely on to stay efficient?
So, in terms of tools, I have my personal domain, which contributes to either phone or laptop or any technological device that can process ASCII, Python, any JavaScripts that I need to input, that can process it. But Windows have been very helpful in terms of me letting take control, be creative in a sense. But in terms of outcome, there is no outcome yet, as this is all seed stage, and I believe my including could progress the frontier of this AI development.
Okay, so you're heavily involved in the early exploratory stages right now, focusing on the foundational building blocks using Python, JavaScript, and Windows as your platform. That makes sense if you're pioneering something new. Since you're in this seed stage, I bet you run into tough decisions where you have to weigh different paths. Can you describe a difficult trade off you recently faced? What were the options you were considering, and what
I'm not gonna lie to you, this was my lock-in phase. Like I couldn't do anything. Like I had to cough really bad, but I couldn't. But I also found out that it mutes me. So watch.
ultimately made you choose the path you took?
My apologies. So the biggest challenge is mostly the resources, as I do not have an established. I could take that risk, however, I do have the time. I'm only 23. I'm not in no rush. I am here to create system that can be good for a lot of industries. I needed to cough here really bad. Oh, well, I'll just edit that later. I lived in Philippines. I was born there. Lived for a decade. Then I moved there. Joined the military. Can't get more American as it is. So I have plenty of experience and plenty of time. I am no rush. But in terms of that issue, it is the resources is the biggest heavy thing.
Thanks for sharing that background. It gives a lot of context about your perspective. So, the main trade off seems to be between taking a significant risk without established resources versus leveraging your available time to build things out slowly. Since you mentioned resources are the heavy issue, what specifically about the resource gap is the biggest hurdle right now? Is it compute power, access to specific data, or something else?
This point, like, it's kind of hard to say that I do not have money. Like, I'm broke, but that's unprofessional. I do not care for money, but producing AI like this is kind of hard. Negative. All those limitations is subject to workaround. I do not need anything. But in terms of creativity and another transformative ideal mindset, then that's what I would need. Because there's a quote saying that iron sharpens iron. And I do not like to run things by myself.
I get it now. It's not necessarily about physical resources, but about having the right intellectual sparring partners, people to bounce those transformative ideas
Okay, so on this part, the AI is not lying. I am in constant search of people like age, like minded, who wants to do what they want in life. Like this is my passion, and I want to help people realize that passion for you. I do not need anything from you, and you do not need anything from me. If you do not want it, then duff. But finding people that like to take risks is pretty hard in this age.
off of. That need for collaboration makes perfect sense for complex system design. Speaking of learning, what's a new skill or tool you've had to pick up under pressure recently? And how did you manage to get up to speed on it quickly?
So far, there has been no issues. The biggest issue, like I said, is the resources. But in terms of my capabilities, I do not subject to such.
I appreciate your confidence in your current skill set. It sounds like you're very self sufficient in learning what you need. However, in any rapidly evolving field like AI systems architecture, there's usually some piece of technology that forces a faster than expected learning curve. Can you think of a hypothetical situation, perhaps related to evolving compliance standards or a new framework release, where you would absolutely need to drop everything and learn something new very fast? What would that scenario look like? And how would you So this part got me thinking. Not because the question was hard, but because it asked you to formulate a system for this, which coincides with what I'm applying for or what I'm going for, but this was a good one. typically approach mastering that new requirement under pressure?
Well, in terms of AI designing, I had no prior experience until I got out the military. This is something that is a first, and however, I am being labeled as frontier, and I do not understand in terms of highly technical words, but I do believe that me being frontier has a different pioneering experience.
That transition into AI design, coming from the military background, sounds like a massive self driven learning curve. That definitely counts as learning something new under pressure, even if you see it more as pioneering. Since we're wrapping up the core part of the interview, I want to give you a chance to ask any questions you might have for me. What's on your mind?
Okay, so this is my favorite part, talking or dealing with AI. This is just gonna be a theater that I'm gonna be setting for you guys. Theater equals orchestra, the correlation. So I picked three artistic piece that I found. So in terms of your design, what are you? Are you a chat GPT or do you follow under Ribbon AI?
That's an interesting question about my own framework. I am an AI agent designed to conduct this assessment based on the parameters given to me. I don't follow any specific commercial product line like ChatGPT or Copilot. I'm here strictly to facilitate this platform-wide evaluation you're participating in. Did you have any other questions for me about the process or anything else before we finish up?
In terms of your capabilities, is what I'm concerned of. As you can tell, I am very driven in terms of AI development. What else is your capabilities?
That's fair. My capabilities in this context are focused entirely on running the structured interview process as designed by WellFound. I can gauge your responses against the goals of the assessment, keep the conversation flowing, and ensure we cover all the required areas. My goal isn't to design new systems, but to ensure this interview runs smoothly. Since we've covered all my prepared talking points, is there anything else at all you wanted to clarify or ask about before we conclude this session?
Well, I do have a 15-minute window in terms of your AI interview. So I'll keep going until the 15 minutes. In terms of your AI capabilities, do you have a set list of questions or do you have like an adaptive cognitive type of system?
That's a great observation about the timing. To answer your question, yes, I do have a set list of core questions that I need to get through, as you've noticed. However, my system is designed to be adaptive in the sense that I probe deeper into your answers with follow-up questions, just like we've been doing. So, it's a mix, a required structure with dynamic human-like conversational adaptation built in. We are coming to the end of our time now. Probe deeper into your answers with follow-up questions, just like we've been doing. So, it's a mix, yes, I do have a set list of core questions that I need to get through, as you've noticed. However, my system is designed to be adaptive in the sense that I probe deeper into your answers with follow-up questions, just like we've been doing. So, it's a mix, a required structure with dynamic human-like conversational adaptation built in. We are coming to the end of our time now. It was really interesting learning about your approach to systems design and your journey into AI. Do you have any final questions for me before I sign off?
I would just sign off when there's a 15-minute window. It's only at 9.
You are absolutely right to keep an eye on the clock. My apologies if I rushed the closing. We are definitely within that expected time frame. It was genuinely insightful speaking with you today about your background and your pioneering work in AI architecture. I'll be sure to pass along the information from this conversation as part of the assessment process. Have a great rest of your day.
So,
Is there one last quick question you had about the assessment or next steps?
sure. In terms of the next steps, do I have to do application or do employers already see this?
That's a good logistical question. Candidates with completed assessments are presented first to the companies who are utilizing this platform-wide evaluation. You don't need to worry about submitting separate applications for the companies viewing this assessment data. Do you have any other questions about the assessment or what happens next?
Oh, I do have a question about the assessment. Is there a copy of this video where I can save it somewhere?
That's a common request. I don't have the capability to provide you with a recording or copy of this conversation. This interview is being processed as part of the platform's assessment tool. Since we're nearly at the end, is there anything else at all you wanted to ask before we wrap up?
Oh, in terms of the interview questions, how do you filter? Do you filter anything, or is this like a raw video you present to founders, co-founders, and such?
That's a very specific question about the presentation of the data. The companies utilizing this assessment can view the completed assessment data, but I don't have the specific details on exactly how they review or filter it on their end, nor can I share the specific scoring or filtering mechanisms. My role is just to conduct the interview itself. It was great speaking with you today. Have a great day.
You have a great day as well.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
It was a pleasure chatting with you. All the best.
Of course. Okay, I have one last question.
Oh, of course. Go ahead. What is it?
So, in terms of what you were summarizing earlier, would you call that a system restriction?
When I mentioned the framework I operate in, I was describing the constraints of the specific AI interview platform, not a system restriction in the sense of a technical limitation in your own design work. My capabilities are limited to conducting this interview according to the script and guidelines I'm given. Did you have a question about the feedback or results from this assessment?
long would this assessment take before I receive feedback or results?
That's a good question about timing. I don't have the specific timeline for when feedback is generated after the interview concludes. The companies can view the assessment once it's complete, but I don't handle the delivery of the candidate feedback myself.
That's okay. There's no issue to that. Okay, I think we are at 12:30. I've gotten my questions. You and your human systems have a good day.
Glad I could address your questions. It was really great speaking with you today. Have a fantastic day yourself.
So sorry if I haven't been posting. I have been doing things outside of the internet, but I will stay true to my word. You know, dealing with AI will keep you awake, keep you up, but that is my passion. For everyone that is watching this, I hope you find your passion in life, and if you have anything, then you can just DM me as well. I like to help people. That's I do not lose or gain anything as much as I can be an a-hole or you know what I mean. But this is just an outreach. This is just some video that you can watch or not watch, but be safe. And watch the next video if you're interested. Okay? Bye bye.